So there's a lot of chatter in the media right now about the report released on Thursday in regards to the classified documents, Joe Biden's classified documents case, not to be confused with Donald Trump's classified documents case. And the administration is very mad about how they feel like Joe Biden has been fairly unfairly characterized in that report. So I have a little clip here from MSNBC's YouTube channel about, or from a statement that Kamala Harris gave about it. So I just wanted to show you this and react to it.
I have been privileged and proud to serve as Vice President of the United States with Joe Biden as President of the United States. And what I saw of that report last night, I believe is, as a former prosecutor, the comments that were made by that prosecutor, gratuitous, inaccurate, and inappropriate. October 7th, Israel experienced a horrific attack. And I will tell you, we got the calls, the president and myself, in the hours after that occurred. It was an intense moment for the commander-in-chief of the United States of America. And I was in almost every meeting with the president in the hours and days that followed. Countless hours with the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State, the heads of our intelligence community. And the president was in front of and on top of it all, asking questions and requiring that America's military and intelligence community and diplomatic community would figure out and know how many people were dead. How many are Americans? How many hostages? Is the situation stable? He was in front of it all, coordinating and directing leaders who are in charge of America's national security, not to mention our allies around the globe, for days and up until now, months. So the way that the president's demeanor in that report was characterized could not be more wrong on the facts and clearly politically motivated, gratuitous. And so I will say that when it comes to the role and responsibility of a prosecutor in a situation like that, we should expect that there would be a higher level of integrity than what we saw.
Okay, so, I mean, first of all, I think we should recognize that
I originally
nobody
hadn't
really
thought
knows
about what going back.
nobody really knows Joe Biden's level of mental competence right now or mental deterioration, except his inner circle. So I can't claim to have special insight about this. I mean, there's a lot of chatter about it, like I said, and there's many people on both sides of the opinion and of the political aisle. So some are being like, yeah, he's mentally compromised. Step aside, let Kamala Harris run, let someone else run. You can't do it, bro. We can't have a old dementia-ridden old man with the nuclear codes, blah, blah, blah. And then other people are like, no, this is politically motivated. This is unfairly maligning President Joe Biden. This is the right trying to sabotage us. Joe Biden is fine. These are all exaggerations. So I tend to lean towards, there's probably a good deal of exaggerating out there. There's probably a good deal of exaggerating out there. But also, I mean, the optics aren't good. The optics aren't good. I think there was a poll that came out recently saying, Biden's mental state or mental competency is like one of the greatest worries for voters right now. And also to, have a press conference about it. That doesn't look good. That looks defensive. And the speech of Harris's that I just played to you, that looked very defensive. And when people behave defensively in situations like this, it makes you think, oh, well, they have something to hide. Whether they do or not, that's sort of how it comes across. And of course, she has to throw in like, oh, no, this is politically motivated. Which, really? I mean, he's not getting charged in his documents case, which, I mean, to be clear, his documents case is not, anywhere near Trump's level, because Trump was deliberately obstructing justice and lying and not cooperating. So what he did wasn't as bad as what Trump did, and people who try to make that equivalence are liars. But is it really politically motivated? Look, I mean, is it wrong for the report to be like, yeah, he couldn't remember the exact years he was vice president. He couldn't remember the year his son Beau died. And, it doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like mentally fit to go in front of a jury regarding all this. And a jury's not going to convict him, even if we did. I don't see how that's politically motivated. I mean, they did a long interview with Joe Biden, so it's I would say it's pretty clear they got a good look into how he's doing, who he is, and they were just reporting what they saw. So I think that's a smear on Robert Hur. And then to throw like Gaza in her speech, like, I know what she's trying to say is, when we heard about the attack on Israel, Biden was there, he was clear-headed, he was asking questions, he was making, going down the checklist, yada, yada. So I know why she said it, but like, don't throw Gaza in our face right now when you're trying to protect Joe Biden's image and protect his, when you're trying to claim he's in a good, he's mentally competent and mentally well. Don't throw Gaza in there. That's sad. That's gross. The Biden administration is some of the last people who should be throwing Gaza in there. But it's rhetoric. They're trying to garner sympathy, and of course they already have bad opinions and bad policy on that situation. So they're going to throw it in there. But that's gross, like I said. But it doesn't look good. That's my main takeaway, is it doesn't look good. Whether or not the reports of Biden's mental deterioration or exaggerations, it doesn't look good in the public eye. It could hurt him. But it also, one final point, it gets to something more general, which is, we shouldn't be having people in their 80s and 90s in office. There needs to be some cutoff, or if it's not an age cutoff, there at least has to be some, mental competence test you have to pass or something. There has to be some regulations so we don't have super, super old people running everything, because it's not safe. It's not good for our elders. They shouldn't, have to be in these stressful, difficult situations. And it's unfair to the rest of the population, because, the older generations are passing policies or not passing certain policies, and it doesn't affect them, or it helps them and it doesn't help anybody else. In fact, it can, our elderly politicians are doing things that are actively going to harm the younger generation. So we need to stop, again, some age cutoff or some way of making sure if people are really old and in office that they're mentally there and able to do it, because we can't have a gerontocracy. Is that the term I think that's used nowadays? We can't have a gerontocracy. We can't have a bunch of old people running everything. That's just not good for society as a whole. Whether Joe Biden is himself incompetent, again, I tend to think the reports are somewhat exaggerated, but look-wise, he looks like an incompetent old man, and that's not good for anybody, but especially for his campaign.